welcome to Don't Do Disney
Without Us.
My name is Daniel.
And my name is Zach.
And welcome back to our show, episode 13.
Unlucky 13.
Well, 13 is the minimum amount of wait time that you would have at the Haunted Mansion and at the Tower of Terror. There you go. Fun fact that I learned on my Keys of the Kingdom tour.
Wait, I don't remember that.
You should have taken notes. Anyway, this is a little show where we like to talk about all things Disney, talk about the parks, we talk about the movies, we talk about the Disney Plus.
Why are you struggling to say that?
know.
We say it every week.
I should write it down or something like that. But
we talk about everything Disney except for sports because we don't care.
Wow. Okay. I'll go with that. I agree with that. Although we did get some criticism that we talk too much about
the parks.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for that criticism. We appreciate it. As you, if you listened last week, you know that a couple of weeks ago, we've moved the structure of the show around so that we talk about our main topic up front so that you, not to mention any names, Adam Burns, if you don't want to hear about the Disney news of the week about the parks, you don't have to. You can hear our conversation first, and then you can gracefully bow out. Yeah, that's how that works. And then we'll wrap up the show by telling you our heroes and the villains of the week. There you go. So our big story of the week this week is not Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because we're not going to spoil a movie at this point. We might talk about it in a few weeks, but I feel like there's still some people that might want to see it, right?
Correct. Much like Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind.
Oh.
No spoilers, please.
Yeah, we're doing that this week. But what we did do this past week, it was Zach's birthday. We went over to Fort Wilderness, and we had a lovely 3 days at the Walt Disney World Resort at Fort Wilderness. So we kind of wanted to talk about that. So we had our own RV there at Fort Wilderness at our campsite. We were once again in Loop 17.
Or 1700. I don't know if internally they refer to the loops with the extra zeros or not, but yes, we were in the same loop as we were.
It starts with 100, so I'd imagine. Like it goes 100, 200, 300. So yeah, 1700, whatever you want to call it. Right? Same. We didn't immediately realize that we were in the same loop that we had been in the first time. It took us a while to realize that, that was our old campsite right over there. Like we can see it from where we're parked right here. By the way, Loop 17, a great loop. If you want to go there, it's very close to the meadow. It's very close to the main swimming pool and the store. So
and the campfire and the bike barn and it's basically kind of in the middle of the campground.
Yeah. You pay a lot more for the premium sites, which just get you closer to the settlement. Now, if you don't speak Fort Wilderness, the settlement is where they have Pioneer Hall, the restaurants. Pioneer Hall, by the way, is where they do the Howdy Do review dinner show. They have the marina there, which was not open, but they also have the boats that will take you to the Magic Kingdom, take you to to Wilderness Lodge. And I think there's a boat to Contemporary. I'm not quite sure, but I know anyway, that's where you take your boat transportation from.
That's where you get your bus transportation to the Magic Kingdom.
Right.
Everywhere else is up front near the check-in.
That is what they call the outpost. So the outpost is on the entire other side of the campground, and that is where you first pull in and check in. And that is where the main bus depot is that will take you to all the other theme parks other than the Magic Kingdom. So if you've never been to Fort Wilderness before, it's a 750-acre campground, so it is quite large. And it's not like you can just walk from your campsite. Well, you could.
You could.
You could.
You'll get your steps in for sure if you do that.
But there are internal buses that take you all around the campground. So there's bus stops everywhere on the main road. You just basically sit in a bus stop, wait for a bus to come by, and it'll take you either to the settlement or to the outpost, where you'll then swap off to take whatever kind of trip, whatever kind of transportation that you wanted to.
Or you may, as we did, have another camper who has a golf cart pick you up and drive you where you need to go.
That's true. The first morning when we were heading to our breakfast, a older gentleman on a golf cart was driving by. He's like, "Are you waiting for a bus?" And so we hitched a ride with him on the back of his golf cart going down to the settlement.
Speaking of, let's talk about golf carts because we rented one this time.
We did. Our first trip to Fort Wilderness, we did not rent a golf cart in advance. So we very naively showed up at the outpost and said, "Hello, we would like to rent a golf cart," to which they audibly
cast member, was
laughed at us in our face. And
he was like, "You need to rent those things about a year in advance."
Yeah, which is not true because we
booked this trip in February.
Yeah.
And I called the day that we booked and managed to get a golf cart reservation.
Yeah. So we got a golf cart for this trip. So we came in on a Tuesday afternoon and we were staying until Friday. So we got our golf cart for for Wednesday through Friday.
Correct.
Yeah. So the first day we didn't have our golf cart. The first evening we didn't have our golf cart.
Which was fine because we had dinner plans and we didn't plan on going anywhere that evening, and anywhere that we wanted to go in the campground was within walking distance, aka the store.
Yeah, well, we also still had our truck. I mean,
right.
We did have a vehicle. We could go drive to wherever we wanted to. But so the next day we were going to get our golf cart, which you cannot pick up your golf cart until 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So it's not like you can show up down at the outpost bright and early on the morning that you're going to rent your golf cart. You have to wait until after 1 o'clock to get it. So we had breakfast plans at Wilderness Lodge. So we went to go and do that and then did a couple of things. Did we even go to the Kingdom though? We went to breakfast. Did we go to the Kingdom?
Yes, we went to the Kingdom.
All right. So this is Wednesday. This is Wednesday of our trip. And we knew that this was going to be the main day that we were going to do park stuff. This is Zach's birthday. So we knew that we were going to have breakfast at Wilderness Lodge at Whispering Canyon. And we had dinner that evening at
California Grill.
And so it just made sense. We're staying at Fort Wilderness. Here's Wilderness Lodge, and there's Contemporary. Right? It just made sense that the park that we would go to that day would be the Magic Kingdom. So we got up early on, I didn't get up early, but Zach got up early on Wednesday morning with the cat and got us Lightning Lane reservations for Slinky Dog, for Snow White's Seven
Dwarves Mine Train.
Seven Dwarves Mine Train. And then our first Genie Plus reservation that we went for was a Jungle Cruise reservation for the evening because the Jungle Cruise was booking up really fast.
Right. When resort guests who at 7 a.m. can make their first Genie Plus selection of the day.
Their first Lightning Lane.
Correct. Their first Genie Plus Lightning Lane, not their first. Well, they can
everyone can make their first Genie Plus selection at 7 a.m.
I'm getting my terms confused.
Okay.
Yes. When we made our first Genie Plus selection at 7 a.m., the Jungle Cruise was already at 2 or 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because, like we've noted before, after the movie came out, the wait time on that attraction specifically has been astronomical.
Yeah, there's 80-minute, 90-minute waits for the Jungle Cruise now.
Which, I love the Jungle Cruise. It's my favorite ride on property.
I would never wait 90 minutes.
But no, especially not in the Florida heat. Although RQ is at least outdoors but covered.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Disneyland's is covered. It's 2-story. Remember, we went upstairs there. And
I vaguely remember that was 6 years ago at this point.
So we went ahead and made our individual Lightning Lane for...
Or 5. Math is hard.
We made our individual Lightning Lane for Snow...
Seven Dwarves Mine Train.
The Seven Dwarves Mine Train. And then we made our evening reservation for Jungle Cruise. We also made a later in the day reservation for Haunted Mansion because those were the things that you wanted to do on your birthday, right? So those were the 3 main things you wanted to do on your birthday. And we got those Lightning Lanes out of the way. So after we had our breakfast at Wilderness Lodge, we went over to the Kingdom. We rode the Seven Dwarves Mine Train. We were there on time for that. We went and killed some time on Ariel's underwater adventure because there's never a wait for Ariel's underwater adventure.
Ariel's underwater abridged adventure.
Right. And then I think we had a Lightning Lane for Peter Pan, which was the other thing that we did. So we did Peter Pan, so Seven Dwarves, Ariel's, and Peter Pan, and then we left to go back to the campground for us to get our golf cart and to kind of hang around the campground for the afternoon until our much later in the evening lightning lanes that we were continuing to get every 2 hours because we knew that our dinner at Contemporary was at 5:30. So we were aiming for 7:30 or later reservations back in the kingdom. That makes sense, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we did that. We went back to the campground. We got our golf cart and we took it around. We have footage of all this, which we are making a video for this for Camp Wilderness. We like to call it Camp Wilderness. So sometimes I call it Camp Wilderness, even though I know it's Fort Wilderness. But we have a video coming after that on our YouTube channel. But what I wanted to say was, if you've never rented a golf cart at Fort Wilderness, I think what we discovered is you probably don't need to if you're not going to hang around the campground.
Correct. If you are spending the majority of your time at the parks and only using Fort Wilderness as your resort, as a place to go back to and maybe swim, you probably do not need a golf cart.
Yeah.
Because it's very expensive. It's about $62 or $63 a day.
Yeah.
So that adds on to the cost of your
stay,
your resort stay,
exactly.
Which is much more than parking at any of the other resorts is.
True.
Including at deluxes if you valet park. I think that's about half the cost. I think valet is like $30-something a day.
Now, there's some other options that you could do that we did see other people using. Electric scooters. Some people had some electric scooters. If you have one, or I found a company in Orlando that rents them by the month. So you can like rent one for a month for like $100, but I mean, that's for the entire month. So there are things like that. You could ride little electric scooters. You could bring bikes.
You could rent a bike.
There are bikes that you can rent there, but again, that's $20 a day. If you have your own bike that you want to bring, there are bike racks at both the settlement and the outpost and at the pool, so you can lock your bike up at all the places that you would go. But I mean, it was fun driving around on the golf cart and seeing things.
Once I got used to how to drive a golf cart, it was a little shaky at first.
But you are limited to 15 miles an hour. The golf carts that you rent, at least. There were a lot of people that had their own golf carts that they brought.
Right. Disney's got a throttler on there, so you can't go more than 15.
You go 15, and how do we know that? You ask, how do we know? They have those modern speed limit signs that tell you exactly how fast you're going as you're approaching, and it was always like 15, 14, 15, 14, 15, 14, 15, 14, 14, 14, 14. Yeah, so it's and you could feel the engine kind of like backing off, even though you had it floored. So you are restricted to how you can drive, how fast you can drive.
But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, but if you are spending a day or two just at the resort to do swimming or renting a boat or archery or horseback riding or just going along the trails on the campground, it's definitely worth it because you're going to be all over the campground. And unless you want to wait on the bus system, which, like all other Disney buses, is not great, you're going to need some way to get around if you don't have one of your own. And
the golf carts make it really easy, especially if you have other people staying at the campground that maybe are in a different loop than you and you want to go back and forth between those two loops, then it is well worth it. We found that because we spent most of the day Wednesday away from the campground, we didn't really use the golf cart that much. And Thursday we were going to Animal Kingdom. So again, we weren't going to use the golf cart that much.
Right. I think next time we do a Fort Wilderness stay, if we do a park, we might do one that's open later in the evening and just spend the day doing things at the resort. So if we rent a golf cart, we'll get the most out of the money that we're spending.
Right. It's also worth it, I guess, to point out that we had great weather while we were there. And if anything, it was a little too cold to swim. We were in the low 80s during the day, which is great in Florida. There wasn't a lot of humidity, and there was a breeze, which that doesn't make for great swimming weather in Florida.
As we found out when we went to Typhoon Lagoon in the 70s, when it's in the 70s and there's a breeze in Florida, you're cold.
It's cold. Anyway, we had a great time at the Magic Kingdom in Fort Wilderness. I feel like. Did you have a great time?
Yes. And not to mention, I did the mine train, which if you have seen our Instagram photos, you've seen the on-ride photo for that with me looking like I do on roller coasters.
Yes.
I am sure that our photo from Guardians on Wednesday will look worse. I might even look a little green.
You say that, but then there's a good chance we won't even get our on-ride photo. We still haven't gotten our on-ride photo for Slinky Dog or Haunted Mansion for them. So I got it for Haunted Mansion, but I don't have the photo pass.
I didn't.
Oh.
And the only thing I can think of is that I tapped in with my card, with my physical pass, instead of my Magic Band, and it might be tied to that. I don't know why.
You know what? We will be at Epcot on Wednesday. We'll just head over to a guest experience thing, and I'll show them my photo and say, hey, is there a way that you could add this to his account? Because that's clearly him in the photo.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm jumping all over the place in terms of topics, but we were speaking about roller coasters.
Yes.
And as the very last thing that we did, you convinced me to ride the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Big Thunder Mountain. Yes.
Exactly. I did not have my eyes open for practically any of it because it's very fast and I was already having a mild panic attack, but you got me on it and I went up in the air a couple times.
Yes, but you liked it. You had fun.
It was fun. I can see myself going on it again.
And the next time you go on it, you need to keep your eyes open because there's a lot of things that are happening.
Yes, you mentioned that there's lots of theming that I didn't see.
Yes, because you had your eyes pinched. Tightly closed. All right. Well, that was our trip to Disney. Like I said, there will be was there anything else?
Are we going to talk about California Grill?
We could. What would you like to say about California Grill? This is the first time that we were there since they've moved to a prefix menu.
They've moved to a prefix menu for the 50th anniversary. So it is tied with Space 220 for the most expensive prefix that isn't Victoria and Albert's.
It's basically $89
a person. It's $89 a person. There are optional wine pairings and drinks that you can add on that will increase the cost of your meal. I will say, of the two, California Grill has the better view, obviously, because the view from Space 220 is just screens. There's no actual windows in the restaurant.
How dare you? You're 220 miles above the earth, looking out over the curvature of the earth.
Yes. And aside from a poor dessert choice, the California Grill dinner was very good. My appetizer was good and my entree was good. I'm blanking on what I actually had. Oh no, I had the wontons for appetizer as suggested by Johnny the Grand Cal Stan on Twitter and Instagram. They are amazing. And I had the filet for my entree, which was also very good. I don't think I've had a bad filet on property yet.
Okay.
I got the lavender donuts for my dessert, which was the mistake.
But it was an avoidable mistake. The only reason you got the lavender donuts is because I was getting the creme brulee, which is what you wanted.
And I didn't want to have something. I didn't want to have the same thing for some reason.
Yeah, but it was your birthday. You should have had what you wanted.
Yes.
Yeah. I had for the appetizer. I had the duck pizza, the duck l'orange pizza, which was quite good. Was it duck l'orange or duck confit?
It is duck l'orange made with duck confit.
Okay. And that was very good. And then I had the pork tenderloin for my main entree, which was also very, very good. And my dessert was the creme brulee, which was awesome. So three hits there for me. It's like the appetizer was the weakest, but even that was really good.
So if you're going to do one of the pricey prefixes, California Grill is easier to get into than Space 220. So that will probably be the one you end up doing, but I would recommend Space 220 just because I feel like the food is better there.
I would say the food is about on par. I mean, we didn't order the exact same thing at both restaurants, so and restaurants vary from day to day.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
As Disney food bloggers want to say, the only thing consistent about Disney restaurants is their inconsistency.
Yeah, but California Grill is a lovely restaurant, and we had great service, we had great views, so it was great. Someone asked if it was Adam. My friend Adam wanted to know if we watched the fireworks from Grand. No, we went to the park to watch the fireworks like normal people.
We actually watched them from right outside the Haunted Mansion in the
breezeway between Adventureland and Frontierland,
which is a good place to see the actual fireworks. You
Yeah.
don't see any of the projections, obviously, but I mean, we've seen Enchantment before,
Mm-hmm.
and that was an interesting angle for the fireworks.
You get like a full sky.
Yeah.
View of the fireworks.
I was pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the news that we wanted to talk about this week. Wow, there's a lot of them. And let's just breeze through these as quickly as we can. Number one, the Disney Cruise Line, the Disney Wonder, departed from Vancouver for the first time since cruising reopened today, May 16th, the day that we were recording, and will return to Alaska for the 2022 and 2023 summer season. Oh, wow. So we're going to see the Disney Wonder when we're on our Royal Caribbean cruise in a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Is it a couple of weeks?
We had looked, it's less than 2 weeks, actually.
Yeah, it's like 12 days.
Yeah. We had looked at doing a Disney cruise instead of a Royal Caribbean, but we wanted to do a Royal Caribbean because Daniel is a Royal Caribbean stockholder, and we wanted to compare the two cruise lines. And also, the same trip on Disney was going to be about the total price of the trip on Royal, and we didn't feel like shelling out that much money.
The irony, of course, is that we ended up paying the same amount as we would have for the Disney cruise, but we did end up with a 1-bedroom suite. So
yes,
yeah.
But the Disney cruise price was just the fare; it wasn't anything else.
Yeah. All right, number 2.
Fantasmic at Disneyland celebrated its 30th anniversary on May 13th.
Wow.
It is Disney's longest-running nighttime spectacular, and as has previously been announced, will return to Disneyland on May 28th. Wow. There is still no date for its return to Walt Disney World, but I believe I've seen articles saying they're working on things in the theater and the moat and whatnot. I would guess probably sometime this fall.
All right. In a city where fire, water, land, and air residents live together, a fiery young woman, a go-with-the-flow guy, will discover something elemental. How much they have in common is something that they discovered that was elemental. Wow, that's a big mouthful. This is a movie. This is a Pixar movie called Elemental that's going to be released June 16th of 2023. It was just announced this week. It looks really cool.
I think it was just announced today.
Oh, no, I saw it over the weekend. So it looks really cool. So yay. Another Pixar film.
Yeah, I don't think they've had a miss lately, so... No.
Okay, next.
Disney debuted the first part of their 2022 Disney Pride collection on Shop Disney today. This year, 100% of the profits from sales of this collection through June 30th, 2022 will be donated to organizations that support LGBTQIA plus youth and families. Mm-hmm. In the U.S., these organizations include GLSEN,
that's Glisten, P-Flag, the Trevor Project, Zebra Coalition, Los Angeles LGBT Center Orange County, San Francisco LGBT Center, and California Center.
Disney has noted that profits from other regions around the world will continue to support local charities in those countries. And you can visit twdcpridecollection.com for more information.
Someone really wanted that URL there. twdcpridecollection.com. Is the address there. Even the tiniest parts of Disney parks get touched up, and the model train at Epcot's Germany Pavilion is currently not operating as refurbishment is being done on its train tunnels. Now, you'll remember, or maybe you don't remember, but during the arts festival, the Festival of the Arts, there was actually graffiti painted on the side of the trains there. Not malicious, like it was Disney graffiti, and that was on the side of the train.
And they do stuff for the Food and Wine Festival and the Holiday Festival, and I haven't looked at it since the Flower and Garden Festival has been going on, and it's not running right now. So
what I've always wanted to do is figure out some kind of rig with the GoPro that as the train goes by, I can clip the GoPro on the front of it so that it rides around with.
Disney has actually uploaded an official point of view train video.
Oh, I'll have to look for that. That would have been far easier. All right, next.
I found this one really amusing. In an effort to better understand the role of physical fitness and the overall health of rhinos, some of the rhinos on Kilimanjaro safaris at Disney's Animal Kingdom have been outfitted with an activity tracker, which is similar to a Fitbit, to track their activity levels, the distance they cover running and walking around the savannah, their sleeping and napping schedules, and where they're spending their time via a built-in GPS unit, which allows researchers to understand which features in the habitat are the most popular and impact the areas the rhinos use.
Wow.
So
Ranger's got a Fitbit.
I don't know if it's Ranger. It's some of the rhinos, not all of them.
We saw all 3 of them.
Yes, they are all out on the savannah now.
Yeah. So on Thursday when we were there, we did see all 3 of them. What was that? My monitor just blinked off for a second. A new guest relations sign has been installed at Epcot, which mimics the font and color currently in place in the World Celebration neighborhood signage, which is similar to the Connections and Creations. So yeah, wasn't that always the plan? I mean, guest relations didn't move, right? It's going to be in the same place.
It's going to be in that same building. The overall floor plan is going to be the same. They're just refreshing it because it looked like it stepped out of 1982.
Cool. All right.
Per lead Epcot Imagineer, Zach Ridley, Imagineers will install over 12,000 programmable LCD fixtures as part of the Epcot overhaul, at least some of which will go into the Epcot logo-shaped illuminated pavement at the center of the new Central Plaza.
Wow.
And I did not know this, but the entire Spaceship Earth Beacons of Magic overhaul has 1,861 individual points of light.
So this is about 9 times that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow.
6.
6 times that?
Round up to 2.
Math is hard. Okay. 12,000 as opposed to 1,800. So modifications have been made to Flight of Passage queue at Disney's Animal Kingdom after guests injured themselves on exposed frayed wiring. I don't mean to laugh at people injuring themselves, but what did they do? What, were they licking the wiring?
No,
what was it?
There was wiring, and you know how people drag their hands along
and
things.
Cut them.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there you go. So that's the
and I mean Disney's queues are meant to be interactive, so
yeah, just not that interactive.
And good on Disney for multiple guests injured themselves, and they acted very quickly to rectify that issue.
Okay. Let's go now to our heroes and villains of the week, which I just, for some reason, realized that I haven't chosen a hero and a villain of the week, so I'm going to be winging this. But this is an odd number show, so we'll start with the villain. So we'll start with you while I think.
Disney's dining reservation system again. The cat and nature got me up at 5:45 this morning. Mm-hmm. And since I was up at 5:45 this morning, I tried to get a Space 220 reservation. Mm-hmm. And I was on the app, and it just kept giving me we're having trouble loading this error all the way until 6 o'clock when things started to load. And of course, there were no Space 220 reservations. So they either never loaded, or they loaded for all of 10 seconds and were snapped up by people before I got the chance.
Yeah.
I'm not normally up that early in the morning,
mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to make a habit of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that we should have to get lucky with a walk-up reservation to get in. So Disney, get your crap together.
I will say this. The Disney reservation system is a computer system. And I feel like maybe there's an API call that the mobile app has to make to it that is not the same type of API call that the website makes to it.
So you think it would be better, for example, for me to get up and come upstairs to my computer and try and make a reservation that way?
That would be my guess, is that the mobile app was newer design and they're probably using a single API point for the mobile app. Anyway, that's just a guess. I actually have no knowledge on that. That's just me being a software engineer thinking about how that was probably designed. Anyway, my villain of the week. Oh my gosh. I don't know what my villain of the week is going to be. My villain of the week is, is Fort Wilderness for closing down the walkway between Wilderness Lodge and Fort Wilderness. There's a mile-long walkway through the woods from Fort Wilderness, right next to the Circle D Ranch, that goes all the way up to the Wilderness Lodge where we were having breakfast, and that's what we were going to do. We were going to go walk.
Get our steps in.
Mm-hmm. We asked 3 different cast members where the path was. 2 of them directed us to it, and the third one said, "Oh, no, it's closed."
And it's been closed since they started construction on what was supposed to be Reflections.
So, and then the weirdest thing is when the bus showed up to take us to the Wilderness Lodge.
And the bus goes down that exact same route.
It takes us down that same route. So it's like, what? Why couldn't we have walked down this route? That seems really, really odd. Anyway.
Because it is still an active construction. They're building something back there, even if it's not going to be Reflections. Yeah. So they don't want people back there without hard hats and possibly injuring themselves and liability and blah, blah, blah.
All right. Well, what's your hero of the week?
My hero of the week is Disney for putting their money where their mouth is with their Pride Collection this year. They renamed it the Pride Collection, and they're donating all the profits through the end of June to LGBT organizations. So good on you, Disney. More of this sort of thing, please.
And my hero of the week is Fort Wilderness Campground, which is, we've had our RV for almost a year now. We've stayed at many campsites across the country. Fort Wilderness is such a beautiful campground. The amenities are super nice. The way that they have the campgrounds laid out, you're not on top of your neighbor. You have neighbors, but you're not. Yeah, you can see them out your windows, but you have a certain amount of privacy. It's very quiet. It's heavily treed, so it's not, blazing sun. We were able to not run the air conditioner all the nights that we were there, which, in an RV, running the air conditioner is just a loud thing that you could do. So it's nice to be able to open the windows and have a nice, evening breeze coming through. That gave the cat something to look at and smell and see. But when you look at a lot of RV parks, a lot of campgrounds, especially near tourist attractions, they tend to be parking lots. They tend to be big
literal parking lots.
Big asphalt parking lots where you are 3 feet away from the campsite next to you, and you're all parked in the same way, and it's loud, and it's like so. Kudos on Fort Wilderness. Is a very well laid out campground with a lot of winding trails, so that you're not at no point are 2 trailers like parallel to each other. They're always at an angle to each other. And it's just a really well thought out campground that I like a lot.
It's very much a resort to give a chance, even if you're not necessarily into camping.
Yeah.
Because they do have cabins, and while the cabins are pricier than some of your lower tier hotel rooms, you still have access to the campground and all the amenities. So I would say if you haven't done Fort Wilderness, do it.
Yeah. There are actually 800 cabins there.
Yeah, 800 cabins and 400 and something campsites.
Yeah,
or we might be getting those numbers.
We're probably getting
reversed.
Those numbers messed up. I do know that there are as many cabins as there are campsites. That was the takeaway that I had from that. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. So I would just be making it up. Anyway, thank you so much for putting up with this rambly little show. We have one more show before we leave to go on our cruise. We will be doing a podcast while we're on the cruise. I don't know if we'll be doing a video podcast for that week. It may just be an audio only podcast. But we'll still be there. We'll still be there for you. If you like what we do here, wait, no, that's our YouTube channel. No, oh, wow, I'm so confused. Hey, there's a video version of this podcast that we put up on our YouTube channel, the WDW Aristocrats. If you are listening to the audio only version of this podcast, then hey, there's a video version if you want to watch it. If you are watching the video only version of this on YouTube, hey, we have an audio only version of this podcast available anywhere where you find good podcasts, iTunes, Google Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher.
Regardless of where you find the podcast,
yes,
like it, comment on it, rate it, especially. That helps show the platforms that there's engagement and helps us out.
You can even ask Madam A to play Don't Do Disney without us. So if you have an Amazon Echo, you can ask her to play the latest episode of Don't Do Disney without us, and she will. So she's very accommodating in that way. But that being said, if you want to send us an email, our email address is contact@don'tdodisney.com. No.
Now you're getting your podcasts confused. Don't do Disney@gmail.com.
Thank you so much. I am so sorry. Now let's see if I can do this without screwing this up. All we would ask is that you please don't do Disney
without us.